This is a letter to Oscar Gilbert Lafeyette. Mary Joseph Paul Yves Roch Gilbert du Motier de Lafayette's eldest grandson. My most cherished grandson, Oscar. Knowing that you turned 19 years old today has made me reflect upon what I was doing at your age. Unlike you, I was not lucky enough to still have my father with me at that age. I lost him when I was just 2 years old, and my mother 10 years later. When I was 18, my wife and I attended a dinner honoring the Duke of Gloucester. Though you may find it hard to believe, I had been married for 3 years by the time I was your age. As I listened to the guest of honor passionately describe the American patriots' fight for liberty from Britain, it brought to mind how my father had lost his life during the 7 Years' War at the hand of the British, and I became determined to find a way to join the Americans in their battle for freedom. Once I set my mind on a goal, nothing could be done to dissuade me, a trait that you have inherited, Oscar. After that dinner with the Duke, I resolved to find a way to get to America, despite the King's orders to not provoke Great Britain by joining the American side in the fight. So there I was, speaking little English, with no combat experience, offering my services to the Continental Army. Through a combination of charisma and persuasive conversation, I finally convinced them to make me a general major. My first battle ever occurred during the Battle of Brandywine, a fierce and hostile environment, and it could have been my last, as I took a bullet to my leg. The pain was excruciating, but I refused treatment of the wound. Instead, I called a retreat and successfully pulled back with my soldiers. I know you will face similarly difficult challenges, but I am confident that you have the strength to persevere. As a result of my tenacity, I was officially placed in charge of my 1st Division only 2 months later. My life has not been easy, Oscar, but I consider myself fortunate to have met people who inspired me and drove me to be better. For me, there was no one more influential than George Washington. He was a friend and a father figure, and I cherished our relationship. He was a brave leader and an intelligent mentor. Your father shares his name for those reasons. Over the years, I have traveled back and forth from America to France, fought many battles, and eventually saw both America and France win their freedom. Looking back, there is much I am proud of, such as my contribution to the creation of the Declaration of the Rights of Man and Citizen. I was also blessed to have been able to fight and lead rebellions in service of a cause that I believed in. My only regret is seeing the turn America has taken, as I would never have been inspired to draw my sword in defense of a country that condones slavery. I tell you all of this because you remind me so much of myself at your age, and I believe that of all my grandchildren, you are the most likely to follow in my footsteps. I would encourage you to follow your principles in all that you do, and make sure that you pledge your allegiance to people and causes that align with your own. I love you, and I hope you are doing well. Grandfather.
How does a ragtag volunteer army in need of a shower somehow defeat a global superpower? How do we emerge victorious from the quagmire? Leave the battlefield waving Betsy Ross's flag higher? Yo, turns out we have a secret weapon, an immigrant you know and love who's unafraid to step in. He's constantly confusing, confounding the British henchmen. Everyone give it up for America's favorite fighting Frenchman! I'm taking this horse by the reins, making red coats weather with blood stains. And I'm never gonna stop until I make them drop, burn them up and scatter the remains down. Watch me engaging them, escaping them and raising them out. I go to France for more fun, I come back with more guns and ships, and so their balance shifts.
We rendezvous with Rochambeau, consolidate their gifts.
We can end this war in Yorktown, cut them off at sea, but for this to succeed, there's someone else